Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. I want to talk about ChatGPT and local SEO and my thought process. Now, this is a one-off addition to my monthly local SEO service plan. So I have one client that's actively using this because they want to understand how their brand is mentioned within ChatGPT, and basically we want to be ahead of the curve. So when more and more people keep adapting to or adopting to ChatGPT, we're kind of already in the share of AI voice. So here's a search that I did within ChatGPT, give you an idea of what happens. You search for where the most trusted gynecology offices near me for OBGYN services in NYC. That's a really long tail phrase, and you get some listings over here. Now, what's great is that if I click on, it doesn't matter which one I click on, I'll click on this listing right over here. ChatGPT is going to automatically add a UTM source equals chatgpt.com to this URL, which is important because if you have Google Analytics on your website, you can actually go into your all traffic and then look to see how much traffic you're getting from ChatGPT. Now, typically for all of the accounts that I have, it's going to really vary, but I would safely say that ChatGPT is anywhere between less than 1% to anywhere up to maybe 3, maybe even closer to 4% of traffic. It really varies. So the idea of tracking ChatGPT is a little bit less about total traffic coming back to a website and more about just making sure that we're always in the mix. So again, this example search that I did here, you want to be in the play here because what I've seen is that when people use ChatGPT, and even for myself when I use it, you start off with one search and then you keep refining it. And you want to make sure that your brand is featured there. So again, it might not be that click that now results in the traffic within Google Analytics, but just making sure that our business is properly featured. So here is the example search that I'm tracking for one of the accounts that I have that's in New York City. Local Falcon gave me this keyword suggestion. They said, what are the most trusted gynecology offices near me for OB/GYN services? Now, this is important to understand because with Google searches, it's typically like a two or three word max. It's like gynecology New York or gynecology NYC or gynecology near me or gynecologist near me. But with ChatGPT, it's more conversational. That's why this keyword is so different. That's why we have to track it differently. This is kind of what I look at. So when I run the keyword scan, I'm looking at the top. Listen over here, share of AI voice. You want to click on any of these dots. And these dots are actually quite important because they're going to give you a snapshot exactly in that radius that you're tracking, who's showing up for this particular keyword. I can see the sources that they're pulling. Now, this is important because when you look over here, there's 3 listings that show up via ChatGPT. So what I'm doing now for my clients that are interested in this, I'm actually looking at the results that show a particular competitor. Then from there, I'm going to their website, and then I'm going to look at their website and say, okay, what can I gather from this that's giving ChatGPT enough of a reason to show them for this particular phrase? So it could be a landing page, it could be an FAQ, it could be how they present their information on their landing page. It could even be from third-party sources as well. They're kind of featuring this. I'm kind of compiling this information saying, okay, we need to make website changes directly to make sure that we're addressing this type of query. Then within Local Falcon, I'm running, every 10 days or so, a new trend report for ChatGPT, just get an idea if we're getting a little bit better with our share of AI voice. Now, one thing to also note is that not every dot will have a result. So for example, when I did the search over here, you can see that there was nothing that actually came up via what they found. That's why there's a 0 thing over here. So if I click on any of these listings, let's keep going through, you'll see that some of these red dots will not have a listing, which is totally fine. Basically, what they're trying to say is that not every ChatGPT search is going to list off a bunch of results. And that's important because we have to understand that we want to try to get in as many opportunities to show our brand. But we also have to understand that not every search someone does will present a listing of companies. So that's why I like to look at this and say, okay, if they're at a basically 60% and then drops down really to 10%, a few dots here. What I do with my clients is that, or the client that's most interested in this, I'm going to look for the competitors that we're closest to, and I'm going to look at their listing over here. I'm going to then go into and say, okay, if these are the top 6 listings that are being brand rankings, I'm going to go into each of the websites and kind of compile that gap analysis and say, what can we do to improve our visibility potentially within ChatGPT. Here's my last point. I think there's a lot of chatter online with ChatGPT. There's a lot of people saying you need to have like a specific LLM XML file, and you need to have all these different rules within your robots.txt. I'm not interested in any of that. Really, what I'm concerned about is running local Falcon scans for ChatGPT, looking at the conversational queries that are showing, and then saying, what can we do on our website or even on third party sites to get properly listed? So when ChatGPT crawls and they compile the information, we can be shown as a trusted source. It's basically still like SEO. It's just a different mindset. As I said, the keyword here, this long tail phrase, is so different than how we traditionally think of local SEO, like again, gynecologist near me, or gynecologist Harlem, or gynecologist New York City. It's more about, okay, people are going to be using ChatGPT maybe for early on research. We want to make sure that we are now in the mix, showing up there, even if it doesn't result in a lot of clicks. The quality of the click could be um, quite strong, or we might not be able to ever really track this within Google Analytics, but we know that we're in the play now for these conversational type of queries. And as long as we're getting more leads for our business, it's good to make sure that, hey, we're checking off all the boxes. So we have good Google rankings, we're getting better Apple rankings, we have a presence on Bing, and now we're focused on ChatGPT as just another way to reach our audience. Anyway, I hope this video was interesting and helpful. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and as always, have a good rest of your day.